We are live for another episode of Resurrected Gospel Live. We'll check this feed to make sure that it's actually going live. And then we will get going. Looks like we're on. Yep, I see that we on, which is good. Y'all that are coming in, tell me how your day was going, how everything went. Make sure that you share this because this is going to be really good. We got someone special here, someone that's really near and dear to my heart to kind of taught me what I know as of now. This is really great. So it's kind of full circle a little bit because I came in not knowing a lick. I came in not knowing a lick, but the Lord is so kind. He is so kind. Let's see. Make sure that I believe we should be public. Yep, we're public. Cool. So I'm not gonna belabor the time. So y'all, like I said, I have a special guest here tonight. Like I said, she taught me literally about just about everything that I know. Just watching from afar, seeing it up close. And I believe that she has not only a lot to pour, but you'll very much learn from the background. If I'm not mistaken, and she could correct me when I bring her up, that she's been leading worship since about 8-9 years old. So it's been a lot of knowledge and experience. So without further ado, I bring up the Robyn Riddick. Big sis, what's going on?
Hello. Wow. Taught you everything you know. My God.
Hey, look, I got to be honest with the people because some folks they'll think that like you kind of just get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But sometimes you really just got to see stuff up close and really know for yourself. So, I mean, I don't say it lightly. And I really mean that. There's a lot of people that's contributed to where I am as a worship leader. But I think for you, of course, especially kind of when I found my footing, was definitely you.
Man.
Bro, let's talk about you for a little bit because one of the things that I think that you do very well outside of worship is that you are also a part of the arts as a whole.
Yes.
So a lot of people that have paid attention to you have seen that not only do you lead on stage, whether that's Sunday conference, whatever the case may be, but you also were on a ship for what, about 6 months to a year?
Oh, it's about a year almost. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want you to kind of talk a little bit about one, how did you get to even loving the arts in the first place? And then this journey all the way up into now.
Well, I've always just loved music. It's always been like a passion of mine. So it's always been almost like a language for me. Music has always been like to speak for me, almost kind of. If that makes like I was a shy kid, which that's kind of hard to believe. If you know me, it's like, what? But I was very shy, very like to myself, and I felt awkward at times. And music and performing always helped me I felt comfortable in that space. And so,
wow.
Yeah. So then as my parents began to see, oh, she likes music, they put me in little shows here and there and things to kind of get me to become a little more outgoing. And so then I remember I did my first solo in church. I was like 10. And the children's church leader at the time was like, she can actually sing. Like
she like the mother children.
She was like, there's kids that like are cute, they sing, but like she can actually sing. And then I did a play in middle school. I wanted to do it. I didn't know nothing about it. Knew nothing about musical theater or nothing. I did that play in middle school and the teacher like was crying. And my mom was like, why is this lady crying? And she was just like, it's something about her. Like she has to keep doing this.
Wow.
Yeah. And I just loved it. And so I've always found a special like home there. It always makes me feel like performing arts always like it just makes me feel comfortable and like a place where I can just create. And every creative has like this this space where they get in, where their creative juices just go.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, woo. And music and performing arts is kind of where my creative juice begins to like go.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's kind of the origin of where it came from. It kind of just came out like I always sang songs to myself. Like my mom tells the story all the time, like growing up in the bathtub or just like around the house. I always made up songs and I always sang things to myself. So I just kind of like, I don't know, it just sprung up out of me like a whale.
But you know what though? It's so interesting that you say that because you ended up finding it early.
Yes.
And it seemed that it kind of just not only came natural, but you found yourself doing it without even recognizing it.
Yeah.
And I think from what I've heard people talk about that they are naturally or really good at, it always you can see, I guess, remnants of it in their childhood. And then it just builds up from there. Which even then, even thinking about that now, it contributes even to your style of worship leading.
Yeah. Yes.
So
and I grew up with, I also should make note of, I grew up with two parents who are very much worshipers. Like they might not be full blown like singers,
yeah,
like they are worshipers and they are very spirit led. So they knew, okay, something's going on. Like she's not trying to move these people to tears like this. She's not trying to move their hearts. She's just doing what she loved to do. Something else is on her that's empowering her, that's pushing her. So that it makes a difference when the parents, so if there's any parents watching this, it makes a difference that you pay attention to what your child really, what moves them and what moves other people from what they put out. Because all of our gifts, I'm not going to jump ahead too far, but our gifts are not for us. They are to empower others and to lift up others, that he gives them to us for others. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So from what I'm hearing, what you're mentioning is that one, it's good for parents to not only pay attention to their kids and their gifting, but it also matters what it is that they're exposed to.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, you have to be careful of what you're exposing them to. Like,
so how did your parents actually steward that though?
So I actually grew up in a very strict, they were very evangelical before it became what it is right now.
Okay.
Like in the 90s, they was very like, we not, the closest we got to like secular or anything outside of the box was like CC and BB. And like, maybe a little Amy Grant, if anybody like, that was like as far as we went. And then when they realized, they kept me in that frame, like they were strict on that, like it was no coming out of it. Like my brother, he gonna really get me for telling this story, but he had like SWV tapes and like R&B tapes that he was hiding, and my mama found them and she tore them to shreds because like we not listening to that. Like that's how strict they were.
Wow.
Yeah. So they locked me in very tightly for a very long time. But then I don't even know how it happened. It just organically happened where they realized, me personally, that I loved music. And they were just like, she needs to be well-rounded. I think my parents are very prophetic, specifically my mom. Like, and I think the Lord just spoke to her, moved upon her heart, and she just knew I had to let her experience other music. It can't be this genre. And that's not for everyone. Some people are just like, no, this is all we listening to. And that's fine. But I think the Lord gave her a glimpse of where I needed to go. And that I needed to experience within reason, because I wasn't listening to nothing crazy, but it opened up to like just pop music and different things, to the point where now it makes sense, because I can go into these arenas and these different spaces and I can sing just about any genre that's thrown at me, kind of thing. So it's like they just really leaned in and listened to the Lord on that. I think they, instead of just kind of trying to dictate to everything, because even in that, like, your kids are not your own. They don't really
Absolutely.
belong to you. You are there to steward them, but it is what the Lord desires for them. So you are to
Yeah,
steward what his will for them is.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. Shout out to Mama and Papa Riddick.
I know.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Like, because I mean, it takes an amount of maturity to even make that kind of decision.
Yes.
And then especially looking at what it is that you're doing now, it makes total sense. And these are stuff that I'm hearing for the first time. Because
Yeah.
lo and behold, let me talk about this. Me and Robyn have never had this conversation. So y'all catching it live. Every
No.
reaction is very authentic. So
Yeah.
because what she's letting me know, again, it paints this picture of how I see her leading, and it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about from a young child, she's going around the house making up songs. That's what she does on stage. Well, not quote unquote making up songs,
Right,
but
right,
we know what
right.
you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
But then she's also talking about how she had parents that are worshipers, and then her mother on the prophetic end that was able to steward her in that. If y'all have ever been in a room or at a conference where Robyn is leading, that's very much that's triggered automatically. It's literally like cutting on a faucet for real. So it's and even with that being said, like I want to really get into, because you talk about that you led your first song at 10, and then things have kind of gone up from there. So of all these years, what has been your, or I guess what would be your definition of what worship is and how you view it as an outlook?
Yeah. So I would first say that, there's books like the thesaurus and all that stuff. So there's like words to make bigger words, to make bigger words, to make bigger words.
For sure.
So ask questions like, what's your definition of? I feel like, yes, there's many ways to say the definition of what worship is, but at the end of the day, the root of worship, worship's a matter of the heart. And that we love to, we can't listen. We love to be like, no idols, no idols, no idols, this and that. But here's the thing. Worship is whatever you like, what do you devote yourself to? Your thoughts, your giftings, your everyday life, not just song. Let's talk about worship. What worship is not. Worship is not a music genre. Worship is not a segment before the preacher or before the offering. Because if that's the case, what is the rest of the service?
Really?
Seriously? Like, what is the worst? It is, what are you exalting? What are you taking everything that you have, everything that your thoughts, your emotions, your will, your desires? It is a matter of the heart. What, who, where, and when? Who does your heart belong to?
Yeah.
Who are you pushing all of these things out towards? Who is getting the glory from what you're doing? Is it you? Because then at that point, you have now made yourself the worship. You have now made yourself the idol. You have now made yourself the most important thing in the situation. Is it your significant other? I'm not with nobody. I'm single, saints of God. But listen, I was thinking about this, and I was like, the song from Greece, Hopelessly Devoted, came to me. And I said, so easy, we sing things like this, and we be like, oh, I can't eat, I can't sleep, I'm so hopelessly devoted.
Look.
That's a fine line, because we can then make our spouse what we worship, and hold on. Nothing comes before him.
Yeah.
And worship can be expressed in many different ways. The way I express it, majority of the time, and what people know me for, is expressing my love, my devotion towards God through music. But your giving is worship.
Absolutely.
The preached word is worship. It is to give glory to God. When you go to work in the morning, that's worship, my G. Like, taking care of your house and your children, stewarding your household, stewarding your finances, the career moves you make, the schooling you take, all of that is worship unto God. It should always push back to the Lord. It should always be unto the Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, and I love that definition, because what you just broke down is that it's like you said, it's not just one direction. It's
No,
everything. It's pretty much your life.
it is your life. It's your life. We say it all the time, I'm gonna lay down my life. But do we actually, when you actually sit to think about it, I think sometimes when we say these emotional things in service, we should always stop to think about what we're saying before we say it. Because we saying stuff like, I lay my life down for you. But do you actually lay your life down? Like, do you? It be sometimes where we pick our life up because we be like, hold on, what's going down here?
It's ghetto.
We be like, this is crazy. Let me scoop this up. I can handle it. But
Man.
no, it's your life. Worship is your life. It's not just a lifestyle. It is.
Yeah.
I lay down my life.
Yeah. I mean, literally what you're talking about, what you are continuously doing from day to day.
Yeah.
And you said it really without digging into it. What you put your focus on every day is the recipient of your worship.
Yes.
And I think even to what you mentioned, talk about idols and talk about laying our lives down, it's so many trigger words when it comes to worship. And I think if we're being honest, just keeping the buck we on full 10 is that I think us as worship leaders or the worship teams in general, we've gotten so used to saying certain words that we know that's going to move a crowd.
Oh, yes.
And then we're missing who is actually supposed to be in the room.
Yes.
And then now we're on this full train of emotion rather than we're actually meeting with the manifest glory of God. So one, before we even dig into the other stuff, like tell me about how you have you ever been in those moments where you recognized it was that instead of it being something that was, I guess, not necessarily heartfelt, but let's scratch all that. Did you ever be in moments where you missed it and you was like, oh, okay?
Yeah, I've been in moments where I was actively trying to make something stir because I was just like, it's not happening. It's not happening. Yeah. And I've been in places where the Lord was like, just stop, because it's just stop. You wasting your time. Like, then early on, like there's been moments where I thought, well, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to do in order to effectively lead. Yeah. And kind of almost making it about what I need to do. I know, shocker, making it about me. Like, we all got to start somewhere, people of God.
Seriously.
Like, so younger me thought, okay, well, this is what I need to do to make it move, to make it shake, and realizing that it ain't got nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with me. If I just, and then it became a thing of, okay, well, let me learn about worship, because I don't know what it is. Clearly, I'm unlearned about what it actually means. So then it took me coming off the platform and going home to study and to realize, what is this? Because all I've ever known is that it's just a musical segment. So what does this mean? It took me having to learn on the back end, which worship leaders, you cannot be leading people every Sunday and every conference and all this stuff, and you don't know what it is that you're leading them into. If you don't sit in the presence of God by yourself, how can you lead them? How can you lead people into a presence that you've never been in or that you barely go in?
Hello.
Because here's the thing, you can always tell the level of pursuit by where you've been on your own. Yeah. It caps, like it really does. And it shows. But I definitely, from in the beginning, young Robyn, I didn't know no better. No. But the only way to correct that was to go home and open up my word, and
Yeah.
to open up books and learn and be like, what is this? That was the only way to adjust that and to fix it.
Yeah. No, I agree wholeheartedly, because I think not even just with everything that you mentioned, but this is stuff, again, y'all, I said it, I learned under her for at least a smooth year and some change.
Yeah.
This is stuff that she would talk about in practice. So this isn't no thing putting up on for a laugh or nothing. Like, this is real talk. And again, I've been there. It was the same thing. I think one of them, funny story, I think when we was going into the pandemic, we had to do the recordings. I think you remember that.
Yeah.
Like, yo, it was a wreck. But one of the things that, like, I would say is that not only I think it's good for worship leaders to have places where they can grow and be cut a little bit,
Yeah.
but also for them to be under leaders that are, well, no, leaders that have been there and are able to correct them and steward them along the path.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it comes from, to where, like you mentioned, some things yes, that is something that you can learn off the stage.
Yes.
But there are some intangibles that you do that you can't learn off stage. Is more
100%. 100%.
You know what I mean? So, and I think even with that being said, let's talk a little bit about your style, because we mentioned it and we talked about it a little bit, but I really want to dig into it, because I think for the longest it's been this debate of prophetic, spontaneous. What's the difference, or can you do both? But I don't necessarily want to answer that question. I want to really dig into when you're on stage and when you're leading, what has your focus?
The Lord. Because plain and simple, like, let's just call it a buck. Like, he has my attention. He has my focus. We have, and I'm going to say we, because we've all fallen into it, where we make it about the people.
Yeah.
And almost what's in the room.
Woo!
I know. Take a deep breath. Everyone breathe in with me.
Wow. Yeah. Let's go there.
Think about what we say. And not in the moment, but what do we say afterwards? That was in the room. It was in the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
When really we should directly address him. Because it's not our job.
Yeah.
To go in and start doing all this stuff in the room. We there's nothing we could do except for call the one in that can fix what's happening in the room. You can recognize what's in the room, but you don't glorify or push what's in the room. You can see that there is heaviness in the room, but you can't lift the heaviness. I cannot lift the heaviness, but I can call the burden bearer into the room to come and lift the burden.
Hello. Come in.
That is his job. There is no physical human way that I can lift heaviness off of you.
Yeah.
Like I can't, like, I can encourage you, I can pray with you and all that stuff, but we're talking about in the moment of a worship moment, a musical worship moment, we can't take time individually with certain people, even if we see it, because if you have some worship leaders that are prophetic that see, like me. So you see a lot in the room, but the only thing that you can do in that moment is call him in.
Yeah.
So that's
my
focus. Yeah.
No, because I love it, because I think, especially in, I'll say my generation, and I think that includes everyone who's come after, is that I think we, myself included, fell prey to that, to where when you're up on stage, there's a plethora of feelings, emotional things that you may feel, and then you feel responsible for.
Yes.
And what you just told us is, regardless of all that's not to say that you forgetting about it or you being insensitive, but however, you know who it is that can actually do.
Yes. And you have to know him. If you don't know him, because like you just said, you're feeling so and sensing so many different array of emotions in the room. It can almost feel like just overwhelming.
Yeah.
You have to ground yourself and know who it is that you are worshiping, who you are singing to and about. And you almost have to plant yourself. Like I will sometimes just stand planted. Now, not all the time, because I like to run around. I get a little wild. But,
Okay.
but I am like inside, internally, I'm having to ground myself, and I know who you are.
Yeah.
And I know what you can do. I can only deliver it.
Yeah.
And I can only vocally deliver it. That is my job, is to vocally lead and help lead this team and lead this moment and steward this moment. But I'm calling you in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because without you, this is just a concert. And I'm tired of concerts. I don't want no more.
Don't want no more. Don't want no more.
I don't want no more worship nights, concerts masqueraded as worship nights. But that I don't want that.
Now you hit on it. You did hit on it, because it's a perfect segue into my next question that I had, because even my little time that I've been into it, but even then, like I mentioned, there's a lot of people that I pull from, namely you. But I want your perspective on how have you seen worship shift? It's almost like there's a culture within a culture.
Yeah.
And you just mentioned how it's a whole lot of concerts instead of there actually being legitimate nights gatherings of where he really is the sole focus.
Yes. It's just, I think, and I'm not knocking it, because I'm not knocking it, but we should all make ourselves aware of this musical genres. Because see, okay, I live in both worlds of artistry and then like worship leading ministry. Because like I said, let's go back to the beginning. Everything's worship, right? Everything is worship unto God if you are stewarding it correctly, right? But I live in both worlds. So if we are coming in and we are saying this is a worship night, then we should be actively pursuing lifting up, like no form, no fashion to it. Like, let's just go. Let's run after him. Let's pursue him. Let's search him out. Let's dig. Where is, like, come on, let's go. Because here's the thing, the veil's torn. We don't have to do all this extra stuff. We don't have, you know what I mean? We can just go. Like, he allows us to just go. Like, so if we are coming in with a worship night that has, like, I'm just gonna pick a word, like we gonna name it seek or something like that, something, then we know that that's what we coming to do.
Right.
Like, and I think what's happening is we're mixing artistry and like the actual ministry. We're mixing it.
Wow.
There are only few. There are only a few. I'm not gonna name them because I ain't gonna get in trouble on this live here tonight. There are only few, in my opinion, that have mastered artistry and ministry. And this culture now has taken artistry and made it ministry, and it is not.
Wow.
It's looking like a form.
Whew. Okay. So break that down for us, because ministry, artistry.
Right.
Yeah. Break those down. Because like you said, you do live in both worlds.
Right. There's like a music genre. There's the debate, and I'm not getting into CCM, gospel. We have it, R&B, pop, all of that. There are genres. So worship music is like a genre. There's your Hillsong, your Elevation, there's your Maverick City, there, your Naomi's, there's all of those, they have a genre. There is a worship genre, right? And we, whatever, name them all. There is a worship genre. And then there is, so you have the genre, right? It's just because I'm trying to figure out the best way to describe it. So that's your artistry. That is
Mhm.
artistry. Looks like I'm in the genre. I'm coming. Okay, think about a concert. If you do something, I just want to come enjoy. I just want to kind of like, ooh, feel good. Not necessarily, we're not going in, we're not chasing after him. It's nice, uplifting information.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a
Okay.
nice night. It's a vibe night. We vibing, we enjoying each other. Like, we not necessarily, it's like, you know, people like, you can't be up in the clouds 24/7. It's like a cool game night with your friends. Like, we chilling.
That's
That to
fair.
me is artistry. Like,
That's fair.
I'm getting musically stimulated, like it's good, like I'm enjoying it, like I'm just chilling. It's good, like the lyrics are clean, they're
Yeah.
inspirational, they're inspiring me, they're inspiring my heart. um but that doesn't necessarily translate into a ministry moment. Okay,
Hmm.
when you are in a room with souls who are hungry, they have come desperate
Yeah.
for an encounter with the presence of God. A inspirational TED Talk moment is not gonna do.
Yeah. Because from what I'm getting is just like you mentioned, concert or the artistry is more of, like you said, the uplifting, makes your heart feel good. You get pumped, right?
Yeah,
You're ready to do that. But then on the ministry side, to me, when I heard you mention that, is people are coming there to be changed,
yes,
transformed,
yes,
and that's the difference. And I guess that's the difference of results is
yes.
what makes the difference.
And that's
Okay.
why I said there's very few that can cross between the two. Because I've been to some concerts where it was like I could tie tribute. We
He is
vibing.
definitely one.
We
Yeah.
full on vibing. Like we in there, and we in there, and then all of a sudden, shift.
Yeah.
Complete and utter, like wind blows in, Lord takes over. He doesn't care anymore about
Mm,
his set. That's,
yeah.
to me, that would be a big defining moment of what are we doing here? Because if
Yeah.
you care more about your presentation and your set and the order and the form and the fashion, we are at a concert. We are now at a concert.
Yeah.
But if you allow Holy Spirit, if you're allowing him to come in and to wreck the entire thing,
Yeah.
okay, now we are in the moment of ministry, because now you're listening, you're allowing him room and space to just
Do
to
what he
do.
wants to do. Yeah.
And that's not often that you find a lot of people that do that,
For sure.
because
For
they want to
sure.
keep with the order, which is okay. And that's what I want people to know, is that it is okay to be a worship Christian kingdom artist
Yeah.
and not necessarily be a Sunday morning service worship leader.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
because you do worship music in an artist form, in a genre, does not necessarily mean you have to do it on a Sunday morning. It's very
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Like, it's
And let's
very,
put and we could put a pin in that right there, because we want to encourage the folks on here that are listening to know yourself
yes.
and know which realm you fit in if you are in either of those.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to mix up the fact of, okay, you could put out really dope music that reaches the heart of people and is explaining the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes, just as you mentioned, that does not always translate over into a Sunday. And then also, what she mentioned without saying it is that she's not saying it's wrong for you to have structure and to be prepared. That's not what she's saying. Be prepared.
Mm-hmm.
However,
Mm-hmm.
if you're really chasing after Jesus, when he comes in, let him do what he's going to do best.
Listen, I've seen Holy Spirit come in and completely take a whole set list and work that set list so well to where it was like, I was thinking, okay, these set lists, this is not gonna stick. And we went through the entire set list, and he moved like in the room heavy on that set list. And I've
Yeah.
been places where I was like, this set list gonna smack. This is it. And we never got to it. Because he just was like, I don't want that right now.
Thank you for your preparation.
Thank you so much for being prepared and ready, but not right now. No, thank you. It's the willingness to just realize, like, this is not about me anyway. Like,
yeah.
I was prepared. I stewarded what you gave me. I was ready to do. But you also can come in and completely do whatever. I don't care. Because it's not about me. It's about you. So
exactly.
Whatever it is you want to do, here am I. I will deliver it how you need it delivered.
Exactly. And I think, like you mentioned, that's what we need to have at the precedent. That's at the forefront of any time that we get up on stage and do whatever it is we do. And because what I've seen from watching different stuff, and again, I can only just go off of how I was trained. I'm not saying that how I did it was perfect and how I was trained was perfect and it's the end all be all. I would never say that. Different people, different strokes for different folks. However, it seems like, I'll say this, the difference between the American church and every other church in other aspects of the country or the world is that it seems as if the American church or the American worship culture is more interested in trying to please people.
Yes.
And really bring in checks.
Yes. I mean, we've made Sunday mornings literally about us. Think of the songs that we sing. I need, and give me. And it's good to need, but like, how am I gonna say this? You come in and you are like, you've got something weighing heavy on you on a Sunday morning. Because it happens. We all do. Even as leaders, we come in with things. But worship is actively putting that down and raising him above the need. Here's the thing. He has so many names. This is why I said you have to know him. You have to know him, and you have to know his names, okay?
Yes,
and
yes.
You have to know if he named himself that, he stands on his name and by his name. So you come in with a provisional need that needs to be met, and it's weighing on you Sunday morning, and you don't know how you actively have to lay it down and lift Jireh, and forget that need and know that he is going to provide.
Yeah.
Because think about all the Sundays that we've come in and we were like, oh, that was just dry. It was hard. It was hard to get it done. Like it felt starch in there and stink because we made it about us.
That's true.
We didn't acknowledge him. We never acknowledged him. We might acknowledge him for 5 minutes and then move back to like something that we need. We need to see a reaction from the people, or we need to something that would make us feel good. What makes him feel good? Think about all the
to do that.
Think about all the Sundays we've wasted making it about we want to feel good. And we want to, but he don't want that today.
Seriously.
I want you to kneel. I want y'all to kneel. I want you to sit quietly. But here's the thing. If you don't do that at home, it will feel so foreign and uncomfortable to you in a corporate setting.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I have seen him hush the entire room. And he just is moving, fixing hearts, preparing. Like, and it's just wild to me because I'm just like, man, I thought you were going to come a different way. I didn't know.
Hello. Yeah.
And I love that about him because it's just like, you don't know which way he coming. You got to be ready. You got to be open.
Seriously. And because you have to, because most Sundays we come in with an expectation of how things is going to go.
Yes.
And then that's the part.
Yeah.
That he's like, oh, so you really did exceed everything.
Yes. Because we coming in, we like, I'm ready to get my dance in. I'm ready to roll across this floor and cry soon as my worship song come on. What happens if your song never comes on? What happens if we
What you
never?
gonna do?
What are you gonna do? You ready to cry at the slow song, but what happens if we never get to the slow song and we dancing?
Huh, man.
Are you just gonna stand there and pout and then say the Lord wasn't there and all they want to do is dance today? See, I'm just trying to get us to check because we do it so quickly and it might not
We
even
do.
be a consistent thing. And we might not do it so dramatically like I'm making it, but like we will do it sometimes.
Yeah.
Most times, like even as worship leaders, we do it and we don't catch that we're doing it, and we need to not do that. We should be aware of, did the Lord get what he desired today
Yeah.
out of us?
Yeah. And let's stick something in there, Richard, because I want to hold us accountable.
Yes.
Because us as worship leaders, like you said, we may have those moments to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I mentioned this earlier, but we have to be sober enough and we have to not be insecure when the person that's over you says, hey, that seemed like it was more about you than it was them. They might not say it in those exact words.
Right.
But I think this kind of even goes back to the artistry, because there's a lot of gospel artists that aren't accountable to nobody.
Right.
And it's like nobody is in your ear, at least from what we can see from the outside looking in. Let me put that there. But as far as those that are on a Sunday morning, being accountable to somebody who lets you know, like, you sounded amazing. Yeah. That was great. You know, you hit all the steps, hit all the notes. It was wonderful. However, I think we need to work a little bit more on you actually looking to him. Right. Versus you're just wanting to sound great. And again, I'm not beating and bashing anybody, because I've had my moments and I'm gonna always throw myself under the bus. However, it's one of those things that you have to get out of yourself and you have to be unselfish. Yes. And really stare at yourself in the mirror and be like, what am I actually doing this for? Am I doing this to be validated versus am I doing this because I actually love him?
Who are you doing this for? That's a great question. That is where everyone should start, even the head. Yeah. Who and why do I do this? Do I do this because I feel like I have to do something in order to be valuable? Or does he validate me and make me valuable? Therefore, I do what I do for him. Like, why do we serve in any form or fashion? Why do we do ministry in any form or fashion? Do I do so that I feel elevated? Yeah. Or like, because if you do, let me be clear, if you're doing to feel some type of elevation or to feel picked up, then you need to stop doing for a second and find him. Please. But that, like, why do we do that is the question. And then I would say to anyone that's over a team and they're leading the pack, definitely this culture has become a culture that is a little bit on the sensitive side and easy to offend. Okay. And there is a fine line, this is a whole nother line. There is a fine line between making sure that we're doing our excellence. Yeah. Excellence is not perfection. Excellence is not getting it right every time. Right. So excellence is doing what's in here to the best of your ability. Yeah. Here we go. Back to the heart. It always draws back to the heart. And so I would even say to the leaders, when you are approaching your teams about excellence and being better, make sure what is your definition of excellence at this point? If you know that they can do better and you know that it's in them, or you know they should, hey, maybe you need to study this more. I'm very much a solution-based type of person. If I bring you something, a concern, I'm going to have some type of a suggestion on how to make an adjustment.
For sure.
I'm not just going to tell you that that wasn't right. Because then we just going to be sitting here both looking at each other like,
yeah,
what am I supposed to do? You just telling me that wasn't right, but what was I supposed to do? And making sure that when the correction comes, that it's coming in love and it is coming with, understanding, and you're pouring more into it just than that won't right.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, also realizing that excellence is not perfection, that everybody is not at the same level.
Yeah.
That was something when I was over the teams, I was like, I got to I had to figure out what everyone's level was.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I saw someone, maybe somebody did mess up and I maybe didn't say much, it was because I could see they still on them training wheels right now. They still trying. They're doing the best. Their heart's there. The passion's there. The drive is there.
Yeah.
I'm going to let it ride because they're trying to grow. They've got to grow.
Yeah.
They've got to grow. And I'll help and tweak here and there as Holy Spirit gives me inspiration to do so. But there's a fine line. I just want to make sure like that we all know tonight that excellence is not perfection. It's just not. Like, it sometimes is not gonna sound the best.
Mm-hmm.
But what that heart do?
Yep.
And that's the thing. Like, I know I am very much not your average worship leader because I am more concerned about the heart of the people that are doing it. More so, I will take a 2-part harmony. I will take unison.
Sure will. She sure will.
I will take unison before I get a team of people that sound immaculate. You give me a full stock team, but them hearts are trash.
Yeah, man.
I don't want that. It's noise. I don't want that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like that, I would encourage everyone to just make sure that it's all about the heart for everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because what she's saying, y'all, is that if the heart's not in it, no matter how immaculate the production and the sound goes, it's not going to be received. No. Exactly. And again, who's the recipient? That's the Lord. That's Jesus. Jesus is not going to receive anything that's not coming after him wholeheartedly. No pun intended.
Yeah.
So you're just gonna be up there, like you said. I think the Bible talks about it that I forget how the scripture goes, but it talks about clanging cymbals.
Yes. It's just
that's
noise.
What it's gonna sound like. So
it's just noise.
So and we're talking about the heart, and I think this will probably be like the last question I'll give you. So okay. we talked so much about the heart, and that's what you really emphasize. Mm-hmm. How do we get our hearts together?
Well, first you pray, create in me a clean heart and renew a right spirit within me. And then you get into your word. Like literally you have to sit with yourself and the Lord and say, because we don't know all that. Like as much experience as I have, I don't know all there is to know about worship, about God. Like I'm still learning of him. We don't know everything. We don't know him all the way fully. Like there's still more. Like Proverbs, I think I'm about to look right now. Proverbs 25 talks about the hearts of kings, the matters of kings to search it out. I'm just paraphrasing, y'all mm-hmm. will look. But it talks about how he conceals himself.
Yeah.
But it takes the heart of kings to search him out. We can search him out deeper and deeper and deeper. So I would just say that to keep it about the heart and just kind of reevaluate yourself at all times. You got to do that nonstop. You have to reevaluate. And then you also just need to go deeper. The deeper you go, the more checks, the more it will heart check. Like really, like the deeper you get, read that word and pick up some books. Pick up books. Like there's so many good books on worship out. Like read them.
Yes.
Read them. Go deeper. Study study to show yourself approved. Okay, we say that scripture all the time. It's not just about preaching. It's not just for it is for everything. Study to show yourself approved. Like, so pick up your Bible, pick up books, study, like, and sit with the Lord and check your heart. Sometimes it will literally look like you sitting there in a moment of prayer and just say, Lord, search my heart. Literally show me where there's parts where it doesn't belong to you. Is there something I elevate higher than I should? Is there something that has more of my attention than it should? What will happen is he either show you right then, or you'll get up and be like, well, that was a good talk. He ain't say much. And then you'll go on about your day and you'll start seeing where there are things that take precedence over him.
Hello. Who are we?
You'll find yourself in your textbooks for hours and hours and hours and hours. And then you so tired, you closing things and you say, I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
And when did you talk to him?
Yeah.
Or I love music. You put them headphones on and you vibe it out. You gone, right? Everything you listen, it's on shuffle. It's a good night. We flowing. And haven't talked to him yet, but we on our way to bed. Or we get up in the morning. I gotta go to gym. I gotta eat. I gotta get going. I gotta do this, and really haven't communed with him. We might have turned on a podcast. We turn on a video, turn on a sermon. Yes, those are all good. But did you actually speak to him?
Did you?
And did you sit and open your ears to hear what he had to say? Did you make yourself available to hear him?
That's it right there. Because you have to stay long. It's a dialogue. You have to stay there long enough to at least let him get a word in for you to know what he's saying.
I'm just saying, like, I've been on some dates where the man of God just talking and I didn't say nothing, and he was just like, this was such a good date, and I'm like, this was really bad. Like, I didn't get to say anything. I don't know anything. You know nothing about me, and I'm just like,
at all.
How God thinks when we do that, when we come to him just talking, and he's like, but I wanted to tell you about me, but that's okay.
Yeah, but I mean, even in that, like, that's a heart check within itself. And if I can be honest, I was guilty of that. Maybe I think towards the end of last year, it was just so much going on. I felt myself just complaining. And then I got to the point, I was like, you know what, God, like, I'm so sorry that I came to you and I was complaining so much that I didn't even hear what you had to say, or for me to even get out of myself to remember that I know who you are.
Yes.
And I know your attributes.
Literally, I was about to say the things that we find ourselves complaining about or like wrapping our minds around. He has a name. He's got coverage for it.
Yeah.
He and it ain't on credit either. We ain't got to swipe no credit card. He's there. He's gonna pay it up for us, whatever it is that we need. And so sometimes we find ourselves spending time on stuff we don't need to, because he's going to take care of it. He'll fight for us. Like, he will heal us. Like, we sit here and be all wrapped around and stuff. Like, he's there. Like, he's got it covered. Like, I don't want us to do ourselves a disservice in that moment, like in that, because as far as worship goes, because we're missing out. I don't want to say we're messing up. I don't necessarily, like, there are some people where like they missing it completely, but I think we are missing out on the deeper.
Absolutely.
There's more. And I don't want us to have a surface level worship life.
Absolutely.
A superficial worship life. Like, we don't want that. We want to go deeper.
Yeah, every time, because he's so vast and so big that we can never really get enough of him.
Yeah,
ever. And the time where you feel like you kind of hit that plateau, I'll say this: either you're at the wrong place, or you've halted yourself in your understanding.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One of the two. However, but that's a whole nother lie.
Listen.
But and you mentioned books outside of the
Yeah.
Bible. I want you to give us two that you
One
would
of them.
recommend.
One of them is sitting right here by my bed. I'm gonna show it to y'all. How to Worship a King. Okay. This man did not pay me to talk about this book, but I am using this book for just about everything that I do. This book is by Zach Neese. Prepare your heart, prepare your world, prepare the way. This is for anyone. If you're on a team, get your team together and start to reading. Okay. If you are not a team, it doesn't even matter. If you are just a person that's like wants to, especially musically, if worship is your expression, like musically,
Yeah.
this is very good. Like you want to talk about heart check in the forward. This thing tore me up. First of all, I've read it like maybe 3 times already, maybe 4. I want to say I've read it like 4 because I've had it for a while, and I don't know. I read the forward the first time I opened it, which was years ago. I want to say I've had it for probably like pandemic, like 2020, 2021.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the first time I opened it, I'm sitting at this desk at my job, and I am like crying because I just realized, whoo, I'm all the way over here and you over here. What's going on?
Wow.
And I think secondly, I would suggest that anyone that we learn about, and I don't have a specific book. I don't even have it in front of me, actually. But you need to learn about your tabernacles. You've got to learn about the Ark of the Covenant.
Please.
You have to, because
Yes.
in this book, he talks about how the presence of God. He said, if you can approach, if there's a way to approach a wild animal, or there's a way to approach a person that's in distress or something like that, he said, how do you think that you can just approach the king any kind of way? There's a process to approaching the king.
Look, because in the Old Testament,
yeah,
you just ran up on him.
Yeah.
Till you dead.
Right. So there's a process to approaching him. There's a process, and I believe we should all learn that. It would benefit us to learn that there's a process. Yes, the veil's torn. Huh? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't just come on now. There's a process to this. Like,
yeah.
The veil's torn, but not for you to come in there and be like, give me. Nah,
right.
That's for it.
Right.
He didn't tear it for that.
Definitely did not.
He didn't tear it for you to make it about you. No. So
at all.
Find any book that you can find about the tabernacle of Moses, anything tabernacle of David, like Ark of the Covenant, like any of that type of stuff. I mean, pick up your word. That's a book. I mean, but you said besides the word, but pick up your word.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's pivotal. Hopefully, I mean, I'm hoping people don't take that out of context. I'm not saying read other books.
No. I was just reiterating. Pick up that word.
No, we definitely do, because I say this, I'm leaving alone.
Read them Psalms.
Yeah, because the thing that we didn't even hit on, and like I said, I think this might be a group discussion. I think I might do that, because we got a lot of people leading worship that don't know no Bible. But like I said, we're not going to dig into it.
That's another thing, because
we're not going to dig into it. Oh, but real quick, okay, you said How to Worship a King. Who was that by again?
Zach Neese. Zach, ZACHNEESE.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm gonna add that on there. Then I'll suggest another one called The Reset by Jarius Riddick.
Yes.
That's one that I've read at least 2 or 3 times.
Yes. And that's a very easy read too, but that's good. A good one. Mm-hmm.
Cool. So yeah, y'all, this has been amazing. Y'all got to meet Robyn if y'all have not. Before we even log off, thank you for joining. I'm gonna say it 10 times over. I'm appreciative, because y'all, she's busy. No, seriously, she's busy. How can the people stay in touch with you?
So definitely follow me on my social platforms, all of them, Robyn, ROBYN __ ELLE. I'm on TikTok and Instagram. You can follow me on Facebook. Don't add me as no friend because I'm not adding no more friends.
We don't know you. We don't know.
Ooh,
Okay.
but all social platforms, and just follow along my life. The Lord really is just moving me around, honey. So
Oh yeah, he definitely is, and it's such a beautiful thing to see. So, like again, I'm honored to have you on here.
Thank you.
And any last words that you want to say to those who are watching this live?
Yes, I mean, first of all, thank you for having me. I love you. I love you. Tell the wifey I said, hey girl.
I definitely will.
I do. I just want to say to anybody, like, I know there was a lot of heart check things that may feel like, oof, tonight. It's only to make us stronger, better.
Absolutely.
Like, stretching doesn't always feel comfortable. Growth does not always feel comfortable. It's not going to always feel easy. There will be things where we'll have to check and adjust, and it's not to hurt us. It's not to harm us. Change sometimes feels a little uncomfortable, or even admitting that maybe I was doing this because it's the only thing I saw. Maybe this is the only thing that I knew and I didn't know. Like,
Yeah.
I never actually approached the Lord to figure it out his way. And that's okay to ask. He loves that. He actually loves when we come to him for correction and growth and transformation, that he takes joy in renewing us and renewing our minds. So be encouraged that even in moments where it like feels a little like, ooh, this is tense, this is tight, that it's for your good. It's for your good. It's for your betterment. It's for your growth. And it will show in every aspect of life. Like, it will show. It will show. And the more you know him, the more your confidence will grow in him.
Yeah.
And the more you'll feel empowered and bold to do and to just be.
Yeah.
And that is what he wants. He wants his children bold in being and bold in doing, because we know who we got.
Okay.
So just be encouraged that to go through the process. Let him work on you. Let him change you. Let him better you. Let him stretch you. Let him grow you. It's gonna be good.
Yeah. Seriously. And y'all receive that for yourself. Take it, eat on it, take it to God in prayer about it. Seriously. Because the whole point of this conversation was to talk about the state of the worship leader, worship as a whole. But there's some nuggets for all of us to take away. Even myself, I got some stuff that I'm about to listen back to this thing anyway. So again, y'all, we love y'all. Again, y'all say hi and bye to Robyn. We love y'all. Join in for the second episode. It's going to be amazing. We got a whole series. I got some brothers and sisters that was coming. So y'all, we love y'all. Good evening. Talk to y'all soon.